Okay, so the new trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day just dropped, and wow, it is an absolute puzzle box. It is packed with clues, secrets, and some seriously deep cuts for comic book fans. So today, we're gonna unlock this thing frame by frame and figure out what is really going on with our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
All right, let's get right into it. First, we'll break down all those awesome comic book callbacks they snuck in. Then, we're going to dig into the shocking, and I mean shocking changes Peter Parker is going through. After that, we'll play detective with all the mysterious new faces popping up, and we'll wrap it all up with what the fans are saying online.
You know, right off the bat, Marvel is making one thing crystal clear. This film is for the die-hard fans. I mean, this trailer is absolutely loaded with visual homages to iconic comic book covers. It's basically a cinematic love letter to Spidey's entire history.
And the first big one, you just can't miss it. It's a direct, almost perfect recreation of the cover for Amazing Fantasy 15. You know, only Spider-Man's very first appearance, drawn by the absolute legend Jack Kirby. Kicking off the trailer with a nod to his origin like that, that's a huge statement. It tells us this film might be about to redefine who he is at his very core.
And they really nailed the details. The way Spider-Man is swinging with someone tucked under his arm, that specific angle, the pose, it is all there. It's such a powerful visual, right? It connects this brand new, scary chapter right back to his very beginning.
Oh, but they didn't stop there, not even close. If you look carefully, the trailer gives us these quick flashes of at least 2 more cover recreations, and these are from completely different eras of Spider-Man's history.
And what's so cool is the range here. On one hand, you get this super dynamic fight pose with the villain Boomerang ripped straight from a 90s Eric Larson cover. But then, on the other hand, you have a shot mirroring the 1974 debut of the villain Tarantula, and it's so precise, they even included the police officers in the corner of the frame. It's incredible.
So all these comic references are awesome, but they're also clues, right? They're pointing us to the real heart of this trailer's plot. Peter Parker is going through a massive transformation. And I'm not just talking about him being sad or emotionally changed. No, this is physical. It's biological. And honestly, it looks terrifying.
And you know, this kind of body horror stuff, it has deep roots in the comics. This film could be adapting some classic stories. You've got the Six-Arms saga from the 70s where a cure for his powers goes horribly wrong. Then there's the full-on monster story of Man-Spider where he just devolves into a beast. And then there's the really wild one, the Other storyline, where he literally died, entered a cocoon, and came back with totally new, feral powers. The trailer seems to be pulling from all of these.
And look, this isn't just us fans connecting dots. The director himself, Destin Daniel Cretton, has promised a huge tonal shift. He's on record saying this is going to be a Spidey that nobody has ever seen on the big screen. And these physical changes, well, they seem to be exactly what he's talking about.
But Peter's transformation isn't just happening on its own. It really seems to be connected to several new characters the trailer introduces, all of whom are, of course, completely shrouded in mystery.
And of course, the biggest question on everyone's mind is, who is Sadie Sink playing? The Stranger Things star is confirmed for the movie, but if you watch the trailer, she's nowhere to be found. Or is she? The evidence suggests she might be hiding in plain sight.
Okay, let's walk through the clues like we're detectives. First, we see this shot of a hooded figure at a desk full of computers. Then, Spidey opens a tank and finds a woman who is clearly being controlled by some kind of powerful psychic energy. And finally, we know one of the villains is a mutant hunter. So you connect these dots, the mystery person, the psychic powers, and the mutant hunter, it all points to one very, very plausible theory, that she's playing the hugely powerful telepathic mutant, Jean Grey. All right, the next mystery is one you hear, not one you see. That incredibly powerful, commanding voiceover in the second half of the trailer, that belongs to the one and only the legendary actor Keith David. But his role is still a complete secret. So who could he be? Well, the theories are all over the place. The safe bet is probably Robbie Robertson from the Daily Bugle. A more exciting, maybe a long shot guess, is Norman Osborn. But my personal favorite theory, the one that feels very Marvel, is the fake-out, that his lines are just narration from some nature documentary Peter is watching to try and understand his transformation. You know Marvel loves that kind of misdirection.
Now, one new face we can identify is MJ's new boyfriend, played by Iman Esfandi. And he's almost certainly a character named Paul Rabin, who is, well, he's infamous among comic fans. And why? Because for years he's been widely seen as nothing more than an artificial plot device designed purely to keep Peter and MJ apart.
We also get a quick little cameo from Bruce Banner. Peter is clearly consulting him about his mutating DNA, which, I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? But the real mystery here is that high-tech device on Banner's hand. Is that just a brace from a snap in Endgame, or is it something more? Something that helps him control the Hulk better than ever before? The trailer just leaves us hanging.
So you take all these clues, all these mysteries, what's the verdict from the fans? Well, the reaction has been absolutely massive. The hype is definitely real, but there's also a little bit of hesitation mixed in with all that hope.
This comment right here just captures the excitement perfectly. A lot of fans are loving this darker, more intense direction. For so many of us, the idea of seeing Man-Spider on screen brings back these huge nostalgic memories of the amazing 90s animated series, which famously adapted that very storyline. And then you have others who are really praising the emotional weight of it all. Peter's grief over being completely forgotten is right there on full display. And like this comment says, a lot of people feel this is adding a depth and a maturity to the story that really honors the character.
So to kind of sum up the fan conversation, there's huge praise for the darker tone, the nostalgia, and the comic book deep dives. The main concern, though, is a pretty familiar one for the MCU these days, the visual effects. Some people feel the CGI looks a little incomplete, with one fan joking that dodgy CGI has kind of become a modern MCU staple. There's still time to polish it, for sure, but it's definitely something people are watching closely.
Which leaves us with one final big thought. With a mutating body, new organic powers, and enemies that are blurring the lines between science and mutants, that title, Brand New Day, feels more and more literal. The big question is, at the end of all this, will he still be the same Spider-Man we know and love?